The engines fire up, they head out on circuit. It's Junior X30 qualifying heat A and B. Here is how they will line up, and it is a very busy and competitive grid we have out there. Thomas Quint starting on pole position with Sandro Perez alongside. Toby Gale and Raul Zanzaren will go from row 2. Freddie Lloyd and Marius Berryberg will go from row 3. Harrison Mackie and Javier Broesca go from row 4. Angelina Porenka and Darren Kinnard, they round out the top 10 on row 5.
Then we have on row 6 Elvis Krasoskas and Alexis Constant. Row number 7 Austin Gale and Hugo Marti. Row number 8 Tag Buckley and Daniel Dalakian, followed by Senna Meunier and Dominic Kakkonen. Row number 9. Row number 10 Harry Bartel and Sacha Van Pat Bosch, followed by Thomas Pradier, Bertram Sache, Thomas Fernandez, Filippo Donazan, Giovanni Tarazona and Arthur Wang. 26 of them onto the track. On the grid and to the track, we have everybody for 8 laps, not 11, 8 for the juniors, as the race will be a 7 lap long for the minis. The minis that will be taking to the track a little bit later after those 2 races of the junior category. And a couple of names to keep an eye on, of course, in this one. Some protagonists of the IAME Benelux in Senna Meunier that we can have a good look at, as well as Alexis Constant, Sandro Perez, one of the fastest yesterdays, with Thomas Kinsey. I've been told by Anthony that Harrison Mackie is coming into this event with some sort of a challenge.
Well, yes, I was in the Fusion tent earlier this morning and I was chatting to the team, and it suddenly came into conversation. Obviously, Harrison Mackie's brother Lewis Mackie is on the spanners for him this weekend, and they have a bet between themselves. If Harrison can win this weekend, Lewis has to shave his head bald. If Harrison doesn't win this weekend in the junior category, he has to shave his head bald. So either way, one of the Mackie brothers is leaving this weekend looking a little bit like they've had an accident. But yes, it's going to be an interesting one. Do you think, who do you reckon? Do you reckon he's going to do it?
Did they say that they would shave their head on track or after they leave the circuit? Because there's no guarantee.
I didn't clarify that. I will.
We need to clarify that.
I'll clarify that, yes.
But to be honest, it's going to be starting from the P7 on the grid on the inside, so quite an interesting position to fight yourself in. So I do hope, for the sake of his hair, that he will be able to make it up there and have a good starting position for the final. But remains to be seen on Sunday, because the opposition will be stronger as ever.
Here we go then into the tram lines. It's a false start. It looked a little bit spread out. Yeah, you can see some of the cars in the background not even in the formation yet. So good call there to go round again. Obviously, they've got the option here. They're running the slightly harder compound of tyre. Are the juniors. They're running the red MG tyre versus the seniors on the yellow softer compound from MG. But, you know, so a little bit longer time to warm the tyres up. Probably a preference for them. Maybe this is a benefit to them to maybe get a better start and maybe a better and safer run through turn 1 as well. Yeah,
longer to get up to temperatures, but longer to last throughout the race, on theory, because you never quite know from one track to the other, sometimes from one turn to the other. As you can see on the left side, some of the marbles of the tires left on the side, quite spectacular actually on the outside of turn number 12, where the outside tires are put under a lot of pressure as they make their way onto the long back straight. So that's something to take into account here. Once again, a lot of marbles outside of the racing line, and we're going to see a lot of them getting there through the course of the qualifying heats. Pretty much there will be no rubber left at the end of all those qualifying races for those drivers. But what's important is to keep your head cold and your tires, unlike your head, up to temperatures.
Yes, indeed. Tram lines, this is looking better. Green flags out. Here we go in towards turn 1. Great start from Thomas Quint, who keeps hold of that lead as he dives to the inside line. 3 wide in the background, and again, they all get round that first corner, the never-ending first corner, all well. One of the carts going off the track and all the way to the back of the grid. We'll find out who that was, as down the inside and another coming together. That's Darren Kinnard, who's come together and gesticulating wildly there that wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I think the driver in trouble was number 12, Alexis Constant, the young Belgian, if I've seen correctly. There's another Belgian, Darren Kinnard, as you said, in trouble. One of the strongest new assets of the Pantano team. Let's see if he can recover through that field into the opening lap. Always very important, as the Fusion drivers, you might see a lot of this livery at the front, especially in the minis, when have a lot of drivers and a lot of young talents able to fight at the front. And what's important as well between the teammates of Fusion Motorsport is to work together at some point, because at this point Thomas Kinsey was able to keep the position ahead. And the question is, can he extend this gap 0.3 of a second after one lap? very, very soon in this race. As you can see behind, Freddie Lloyd and Harrison Mackie making his way up to third. So that's a good start indeed for Harrison Mackie. Don't forget the bet and the challenge that he has on his head. But now he's gonna start working along with his Fusion Motorsport teammate Freddie Lloyd to try to put pressure on Thomas Kinsey, and join to the party can be Sandro Perez, who lost 2 positions. Sandro Perez up down to P4. And watch out for the first move, maybe coming your way. Yes, indeed, run inside by Freddie Lloyd, taking command.
Yeah, Mackie follows as well. So Thomas Quince now down into P2, and it's a Fusion 1-2 then. Lloyd and Mackie who break away from the rest of the field, and Lloyd there instantly saying to his teammate, let's think. And again, it's the right thing to do. You know, it's early stages in the day. This is their first qualifying heat for the juniors, and again, if you can just get away, break away, keep the kart nice and clean, not use your tyres. If they finish first and second like that, no drama whatsoever. But the drivers behind, Quince and Perez, they've got to work together as well. They've got to become teammates, even though they're not, to try and keep with these drivers. Because if they don't, they are just going to lose them. It'll be signed, sealed and done if they don't.
Yeah, it looks simple on paper, but it's much harder in practice, as the Jana driver in third position is having to defend. And still not anymore in third place, as Sandro Perez made his way through the Spaniard. Austin Gale under investigation, fighting back from behind, and this is Austin Gale, isn't it? Trying to get involved. Yes, indeed. Or was it the number 19, Paul Zaren?
Yeah, Zanzaren, who's coming through. The number 18, the Spaniard, moving up the field now into P4. So Quince is struggling here now. Started on pole, but it's slowly dropped down the field. Hopefully it's just, you know, a matter there, and we'll get back in the zone and we'll see him come back through the field. But in a bit of clean air there, so hopefully he can latch on to the back of Zanzarin and hopefully get up into that position again. But still, the 2 Fusion drivers working together here, but they've not driven away from the pack. Perez is still there in third and with the fastest lap of the race for Zanzarin.
Yeah, it's fair to say there might be a bit of a lacking experience when it comes to Thomas Kinsey, even though we've seen him compete at a very, very good level. But it's never easy when you start from pole and you have like a lot of drivers behind attacking as soon as lap number 1. On the inside goes Perez, beautifully made, and it is up to P2. And Thomas Kinsey once again.
Oh, has Mackie got a problem?
By the look of it, maybe, because he's dropping a little bit of ground. And on the inside, look at what's happening here with the 21 trying to get around.
Well, he's dropped way down the order here. He's down in about 13th, 14th place now. He's just fallen off the back of the grid here, and yet he has got a problem. Harrison Mackie, who was running in second place, is dropping down the order, and it's a disaster for the Fusion driver as the rest of the field go through. Toby Gale, you could just see there, side by side a little further back. Here is the number 27. This is Dalakan, who is fighting fierce for about 10th, 11th place on track as they go through the infield section, this tight, twisty section. There you see the 52 of Elvis Krakauskas, who's battling away as well. He's got the close company of the number 18 as well as they go through. That is Zanzarin. Has Zanzarin dropped down the order a little bit now?
Yeah, quite worrying indeed, but that's too bad for Harrison Mackie. But Thomas Kinsey is still very much in this race in fourth. The number 18 on your picture.
Sorry, I don't know what I was watching earlier on. No, they're battling for second still, and so apologies for that.
It's all right. Still early into the day. There's going to be a long program for the both of us as well, Altari.
Coffee's not kicked in yet.
Yeah, you're fully excused. As here the 51 on your picture, your leader Freddie Lloyd, Raul Perez in second. The battle is raging as there's a battle for second place with Freddie Lloyd trying to pull away 0.3 of a second, not quite able to make himself enough distance to be entirely comfortable in this race, as we're going to have 2 laps after this one, and you can see a 3-driver battle taking form. That could even lead to a 4-driver battle if Thomas Kinsey is able to reduce a bit of the gap. It came up to 1 second for the Frenchman, unfortunately, having to defend against Tag Buckley in P5. Then we have Austin Gale, Sacha Van Pat.
Here we go into the final chicane, and it's a dive down the inside there from Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez, wrong one. Sandro Perez. I thought he'd appreciate that. He did appreciate that, and as he takes the lead now, and now Freddie Lloyd is under pressure here because he's dropped back into P3. He lost his rear gun runner of Mackie, and now he's a lone Fusion driver in this quadruple set of drivers. The 18, Zanzarin, up into P2 as well. He's managed to get that one sorted, and crucially, Thomas Quincey has not dropped off these ones. He's still with these top 4.
Yeah, that was one of the cleanest moves that we've seen in the chicane so far. So well done to Sandro Perez. Now he needs to stay ahead and keep his head cold, because there's a lot of drivers behind trying to reverse the situation. Let's see what Raul Perez behind can do in second. Freddie Lloyd, as you said, the only Fusion driver. Then we have Thomas Quincey, Buckley in P5. That's going to be one interesting last lap on the way down to the chicane. This is where you have to shut all the doors, keeping the inside line, going defensive, trying not to lose too much momentum. A bit of curb for Sandro Perez, your leader. He lost a bit of momentum as a result, unfortunately. Entering the last lap, shutting the door into turn number 1, but you can see Perez going around the outside, but opening the door as well to Lloyd. Watch out for no contact at all on the way to the chicane. Everybody stays steady. Oh, that's a tricky part. There's a bit of contact.
God, was that Zanzarin who tried to go around the outside of turn 3? That would have been an incredibly brave move to get that one done. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and now Freddie Lloyd back up into P2. Still Sandro Perez, who's leading the way, checks over the shoulder, can see that Lloyd is there and goes defensive in towards turn 10, and now Lloyd can get the switchback here, going through turn 11 and retakes the lead. Crucially, Zanzarin comes through as well, back up into P2. That's allowing everyone else to close up now, as well as the number 77, I believe, that's gone through. No, it isn't. It's the 11 of Tyke Buckley, who's joined the back of this pack now and back down the inside and squeezed a gap that didn't even exist. And off the track goes Lloyd. But wow, Zanzarin tried to get that move done, and crucially, Sandro Perez takes the win on that final lap. I would love to see that overtake into the final chicane again, because that, well, I don't know if it was alongside it, just saw it out of the corner of my eye, but goodness me, Lloyd there having to take evasive maneuvers and avoiding any sort of contact there. All drivers doing a fantastic job to stay on the track as best as possible, but Sandro Perez here from Spain for the MDC competition team takes the win after 8 laps of racing. And you can think he's going to be happy with that one. First race of the day, signed, sealed and done. You can be happy with that one as he'll make his way back into the pit lanes. And Zana at the end of that one did cross the line in second place from Freddie Lloyd. Thomas Quincey did cross in P4 after dropping 3 places. Tyke Buckley, the Irish driver, coming into 5th place, 10 positions gained from 15th on the grid, so a great start there for Tyke Buckley. Austin Gale with 7 positions gained, finishing in P6 from Hugo Marti, finishing in P7, both 7 positions gained. Javier Baraska finishing in 8th place, no positions gained from Sasha Pantman Bosch, just behind. 11 positions gained with Thomas Prader just behind as well. I think those two worked together all the way throughout that one to try and gain as many positions, because they both gained 11. Angelina Proenka then crosses the line in P11. From Dalacano finishes in P12, 4 places gained. Marius Barryberg finishing in P13 at the end of that one, unfortunately losing 7 places from Harrison Mack, who didn't retire from that race, but finished that one in P14. So not sure what happened to the young driver, but not the best start to the weekend. Elvis Krasauskas finishes in P15 from Toby Gale, who was under investigation at the start of that race. We'll have to see whether or not that comes through at the end of it, finishing in P16.